Do you want to read much faster, especially big old books like this? Maybe like me, you have a huge amount of doorstop books that you'd like to get through in your lifetime, a bucket list of books, and you're wondering, if I end up only reading one of these a month, I will never get through everything in my lifetime. Maybe it takes you 2 months to read big books, and you're thinking, well, I'm just not going to be able to do it at the rate I'm doing it at. So I want to give you some advice today that's going to help you get through these books faster and get through more of your book bucket list. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Stephen Hussey, and here we talk about reading, writing, and rationality. Let's get to it. So the first thing, I think the most important thing when you're reading books like this is to know your reading goals. A lot of people I know, they go into every single book, whether they're doing it for a class presentation, whether they're doing it for study, whether they're doing it for reading for their business, or just reading for fun. They go into every book the exact same way. This doesn't make any sense. For example, I know a lot of people who take a pen and every single book they read, they write notes, they put in sticky notes, they're underlining, they're like writing out cue cards. This doesn't make sense unless you're researching. Some books I'm reading just to expand my knowledge and to increase my breadth, my range in conversation. So why am I underlining sentences like I'm gonna pass a test on it? So first thing, lose the underlining, lose the reading notes if your reading goal is just to expand your knowledge and to read more classic books. You don't need to be taking notes on all of them. You will start to remember stuff as you read more books, especially if you're reading books on similar topics. You'll start to absorb things, and you can always brush up later. You can read summaries, you can watch YouTube videos, you can look on the internet, there'll be quotes, there'll be loads of things you can pull out. You might underline if there's a passage you really, really love, and you just think that is dynamite and I want to remember it, but you shouldn't be doing that with every single page of the book. So know your reading goals going in. Secondly, don't feel the need to get 100% comprehension. This is a mistake I see when people read complicated books or books that have Baroque language, or maybe they're just written in a certain difficult style, but they feel the need to comprehend absolutely every part of it, and they will keep backtracking, keep going back over parts again and again, and even boring parts of the book. If it's a non-fiction book like this, right? This is Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations. This is a dense book on economics. I want to read it. I'm interested in it, but I don't need to see every single obscure chapter on economics from 200-300 years ago and looking at specific tables and data and statistics. That's not really interesting to me. I want to understand the main argument of the book. I want to be able to see if there's any interesting parts of it that I really, really love and want to remember. And just for wisdom, right? So if I come across a boring part in this book, I'm gonna read it a lot quicker. And you should be changing your reading pace as you get through different parts of the book. So if there's a part that's really juicy that feels like this is the core of the book, you might want to really take your time over it. But if it feels like a chapter that's on just an extra piece of material, read quicker. Let your eyes scan through the page and you can just trace down with your finger, looking through if there's any particular sentence or passage that jumps out of you, and just keep going. Keep going. Don't keep stopping all the time, especially if the material isn't interesting to you. If the material's not interesting, just keep going until you get to a bit that you respond to. And look, if you don't respond to any of it, maybe this book isn't for you, and you should look for something you're more interested in. Thirdly, don't be afraid to do your homework before you read the book. So if you're reading a non-fiction book like this isn't a novel, right? I'm not looking to be surprised, or I'm not looking for the story to unfold. I want the information in this book. So maybe before I read the book, I'll download a chapter summary. I'll go on Google or YouTube and look for some summaries of the general arguments so that I go in already prepared, knowing what I'm gonna get. I don't want to have to learn every single part of it from scratch. I might go in going, oh, okay, the first part's about this, second part's about this, the third part is this argument. This isn't a book you can spoil for me, right? It's an 18th century book on economics, so it doesn't matter how much I read beforehand. Going in, that's gonna arm me and know what to expect. And this is what you'll find, actually. The more you read over your whole lifetime, the easier it gets to read more difficult books, because you'll have come across concepts before, you'll have come across ideas before, you'll go, oh, I know all this already. And so it actually gets easier to read faster the more you read. That's the kind of dirty secret, is you read more, you start to read faster. But these things I find going in are really crucial. Know your reading goals. Don't feel the need to get 100% maximum comprehension. Don't feel the need to underline everything and make notes unless there's something that really jumps out of you or you're trying to learn it for a specific reason. Don't be afraid to skim boring bits of the book. Don't stay stuck on boring bits of the book. And don't be afraid to spoil the book before you start. Do some homework, do some research going in, read a summary, especially if you're reading a dense book on 18th century economics. Thank you so much for watching, and do subscribe in the link below, and let me know in the comments if you have any tips for reading faster, any specific skills, techniques, or principles that you follow. Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you next time.